Welcome to another episode of the Speakeasy Podcast. My name is Adonis. I'm joined on this week's episode, as I am every episode, with my two homies here. What's up, boys? Matt and Luis in the building.
Hello.
Yeah, we've got another good episode planned for you guys this week. Before we get into anything, though, I would be remiss if we didn't extend a happy belated birthday to one of our co-hosts here, Mr. Matt Gowan. Happy birthday, my boy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
33 has never felt this weird before.
33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still the baby of the three of us, but
You know, that's what Jesus died, if you believe in that sort of thing at 33 years old. You know?
this is my golden year.
So
Let's figure it out.
As long as you make it past 33, you can say you outlived Jesus Christ.
Man, that's a goal.
That's a milestone.
Also, we talked about this off mic, but it's your solar lunar birthday. If anybody is fans of the show Dark, a solar lunar year is 33 years. So the stars are aligned exactly as they were on the day of your birth today, 33 years later. So
I think I remember when you told me that. I thought that was really, really cool because my mom's really big into like the stars and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to like know it's like, oh, this is the same night sky. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Cool. But we have, like I said, another big episode planned for you guys today. Before we get into anything, though, past Matt's happy birthday. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on what we've got going on socially and where you can find us on streaming platforms. So we are officially now on Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on Amazon Music, and we're also on YouTube Music. In addition to just being on YouTube, that's where you can find the clips. That's where you can find the full audio podcast. So we are available pretty much everywhere except for Apple Music. Hoping to fix that at some point in the future. But yeah, other than that, Luis has set up some socials for us too. If you guys want to slide into our DMs, where can they find us on social media?
It's going to be easy, right? Drink Easy, Speak Easy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, no X.
No X, but we are on Blue Sky. So if you guys want to head over to Blue Sky and, get that platform, get those numbers up, because Blue Sky is sort of the nicer version of Twitter. I'm not sure if you guys are personally on Blue Sky, but it's a Twitter alternative, but with less hate. So yeah, make sure you guys sign up. We'll be posting all across social media updates and information about the show. Also, all those platforms that I spoke about, you can find the links to those on our YouTube channel, which is where most of you are probably listening / watching this. You can find the links to all of those on the YouTube channel, but you can again find us pretty much everywhere at Drink Easy, Speak Easy, all one word. So yeah, make sure you guys are following us. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're rating and reviewing. Any engagement helps us grow the show. So we would appreciate honest feedback, even if you guys don't like the show. Any type of feedback is definitely what we're looking for. Constructive criticism, no. If you do have comments, please put them in a constructive way. Don't just yell at us. So
If we've ever wronged you before,
yeah,
let's keep it private. And we're sorry.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to jump into the actual podcast. So I wanted to kick today's first shot off with a little bit of a small conversation. I finally watched Mufasa the other day.
Oh, nice.
It dropped on Disney Plus. I have Disney Plus because of Daredevil Born Again. I'm watching that show actively. But yeah, so Mufasa dropped on there. I was like, man, I didn't really have a big interest in watching Mufasa. But then that trailer dropped, that first trailer, and I was like, okay, they're kind of going a different route with it. It's going to be, you got that intrigue of, Mufasa and Scar, aka Taka, weren't actually brothers. Mufasa was sort of a stray who Taka's family took in. So you're like, oh man, how did Mufasa, the stray, become the king?
Yeah.
So that was the intrigue of it. But even with that, I wasn't super excited to see it, so I pushed it off. But I have a 2-year-old, and we listen to a lot of Disney hits on Spotify.
Checks.
That's our one of our go-to stations. So a lot of songs cycled from the Mufasa movie, a lot of the soundtrack songs, and I'm a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he did the songs for the movie.
Did he?
Yeah, so I did find a lot of the songs catchy. I thought they were fun. So that's what really piqued my interest in the movie, was hearing some of the songs on the Disney Hits radio. So I finally decided to watch it. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was just sort of very middle of the road. Nothing super special, but it was okay. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and that's what sort of brought on this conversation, because Snow White also just dropped a few days ago.
Yeah.
And so in the vein of live action films based off of Disney classics, they seem to be very poorly received by the general public. So
Yeah.
Snow White in particular has been review bombed on IMDb specifically. Rotten Tomatoes has actually increased their level of security around review bombing now to even have your review counted toward like their audience score. You have to verify that you actually purchased a ticket to see the movie.
Oh,
so
okay.
you can't just jump on there and say this movie was terrible and you didn't even go
Yeah.
see it.
Where are the receipts?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can still do that, but that score isn't calculated to the audience score.
Gotcha.
Are they doing that like through Fandango or?
Yeah, they're doing that through Fandango. So they're counting tickets purchased through Fandango,
if
because
you don't
Fandango
purchase-
owns. Yeah,
tickets through Fandango, you can't review it.
you can review it. It just won't count toward that score. So that aggregate score that they have shown there.
Shady right there.
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing, right?
No,
I mean,
that's
it's
true.
better.
And you verify that.
Yeah. So on Rotten Tomatoes right now, Snow White has an aggregate score of 41% on the critic side, which is low.
Yeah.
But it's not like god awful.
Yeah.
41%. So that's just below halfway, just below average as far as like which critics thought it was good, which critics thought it was bad. Audience score though is 74%. So that's higher, obviously, which is that tracks. Most of the time, the audience score is going to be higher than the critic score. But on IMDb, it is sitting at a 1.2 out of 10. Yeah. So, and IMDb has no verification process.
Yeah,
so
no guardrails.
clearly, this is just people review bombing, right? And so my question for you guys, or the topic of conversation that I wanted to have, is as adults, because kids aren't jumping on these sites to review bomb these movies. Like, these movies are targeted toward children.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about adults taking such, and maybe I'm framing the question in a way that's going to make it biased, but like adults being so annoyed, upset, frustrated with these Disney remakes?
So I want to take a lead on this one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when Space Jam 2 got announced and got made. A lot of people that were our age were mad and hated it because they were like, no, it's nothing like the first one. These movies are made for us.
Exactly.
They're made for kids.
Yeah.
Our time in the sun was the 90s and where we got to enjoy what we had. And our parents probably didn't like them either.
Yeah.
But there was no there wasn't the ease of you being able to go on to review and say this movie's terrible. It was all just word of mouth.
Yeah.
So I think like when you do that stuff and you're saying this is a terrible movie, it's nothing like the original. Well, it's not. Why would you want it to be like the original?
Exactly like the original. Yeah.
You have the original. You can go to Disney Plus and watch the original Snow White if it is so important to you. And I think at this point it really just is like, man, it was not made for you. It was made for your kids. I don't know why. What benefit do you gain from bombing this movie?
Exactly.
So that's kind of where I stay. Is there's just no point to do that.
Yeah.
It's a kids movie. Like now, if you want to save me from the next AAA movie that I would go see, like God forbid it's going to happen though, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, 2027.
Yeah.
And someone said it's not good. Okay, cool. I won't go see that. I appreciate, even though again that same mentality that I'm saying, well, Matt, it wasn't made for you. It was made for these new people. I understand, but I'd rather stay then in my lane of not going to go see a movie that I held close and dear to my heart.
Gotcha.
No, I mean, I want to echo on that. And it's like, you definitely need to understand the audience and as an audience member, like really reflect on it. Because like, there's so many movies being made now, right? Every single studio puts out at least one a month. If not, you're doing one a week for some of the bigger studios or some of the different departments. And so Snow White, if you think of the actors, if you think of what it was, like the demographic is different now than what it was when it was an animated character, right? And so this is made for the kids.
The first one came out in what, the 30s?
Yeah.
So I mean, first of all, these people who have these nostalgia goggles that the original Snow White was some sort of like masterpiece is like, yo,
you really have to read into it. Like, did you think of the meaning behind the characters? And I was talking to one of my employees earlier about it, and he's like, I have no reason, no drive on why I want to watch this movie and have it be remade. And so, like, I respect it. Yeah, some parts of it, like, the kids are gonna go. Parents are gonna take their daughters.
For you. It's not like I'm assuming this employee was probably in his 20s or 30s.
30s.
A male or female?
Male.
Like what? Why would you think a male in their 30s is the target demographic for Snow White?
Yeah, and well, I mean, you might you might like the music or this or that, but
sure, like you can enjoy it, but don't go in with the idea of, hey, this movie is trying to win over 35-year-old men.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, like in our age, in where we've grown, you know, I would hope, like the messaging behind the original is not the best. Like you could be like, she's asleep and a prince has to come and save her and kiss her. And you have a someone that hates, like, and so I was saying in the point of that, like, this movie isn't top writing. It's not meant to be for that. It's meant to be catchy. It's meant to have characters that kids can fall in love with, right? Snow White, the Seven Dwarfs. We won't get into like the casting of it, but so it's a kid's movie, and as a grown adult, like, are you really taking your extra time to go and review bomb this?
Like, that's my issue with it, is like, you can just ignore it. Like, I saw the trailer for this movie and I said, hey, that's not for me. I don't need to see that movie. But I can't imagine what forces or what drives people to go and take time out of their day to review bomb this, to get online and just talk shit about it for,
I think it's hate or jealousy at that point, right? Because
everyone's got an agenda.
Yeah, you have your agenda. Oh, it wasn't made for me, or I don't want to see that person succeed, or I don't want to see that movie, or I don't want what I had before be portrayed in a different light, right? But I mean,
it's wild to me.
You go and you look at the Marvel movies, and some of the most successful movies have been the Spider-Man movies, right? And each one has been, you know, you have thousands of different Spider-Man characters that someone can relate to. Like, why not do that for some of the other movies that you are dated at this point, right?
Yeah. And it might even just be that, like, at this point, it's don't do remakes, just create new things.
But why?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Why? Because, again, at the end of the day, it's the princesses existed prior to you being alive.
Yeah.
And they're going to exist after. You know,
that's what
Disney's
I mean.
Never gonna let those go away
because there's such a loud chorus of people saying that, and to an extent, I used to be very adamant that, like, oh, we need more originals and we need this and that, and I still agree with that. Like, we do need more original content, especially in film. But at the same time, like if they want to continue to remake these movies in a new light, like adding in new things to modernize it a little bit, I don't necessarily see the problem with that, especially. Like, and again, you know, maybe it's because I'm a parent now and it's just made me soft. But like when I first heard about the Lilo and Stitch remake was before my daughter was born, and I remember thinking, like, why are they doing that? We do not need a live action Lilo and Stitch. The original is fine. Yeah, I like Lilo and Stitch. The original is fine. Like, man, like, just leave it alone. But then when, you know, my daughter's born, my daughter has a bunch of Stitch toys. She loves Stitch. Like, I showed her the trailer for the new one. She got super excited, and now it's like, oh, that's cool. Now I get to share this new iteration of this movie. Yeah, that's more modernized. With my daughter, who might not be as interested in the cartoon one from 20 years ago. You know, it's like, we can, instead of trying to force the things that we loved on our children, how about we let them love these new things that are being created? Yeah, you know. So that's what bothers me, is that, like, as 30 or even 20 plus year old, individuals, like, you have to realize these films weren't made for you. Like, these remakes are made for people who are younger to enjoy, just like you enjoyed the originals.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you, like, I've seen people go and watch, like, I've seen dads take their daughters to it, and they're coming out like having a blast. The dads are critiquing it up and down, but it's not about you. Your daughter is happy, dude. Like, how often you get to spend time with her and you're critiquing the movie versus, oh, what did you like? You know, let's go and do this now, or singing the songs that she picked up.
Yeah. I think it's just a crazy thing that people, the review bombing aspect of it just annoys me. Because, like, before you even watch it, you're going to badmouth it. Like, I can even understand watching it if you're a film critic or you consider yourself a film critic, watching a movie, not liking it, and going online to tell people you didn't like it. That's fine.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But to bomb it before you even see it, just because you don't like the way a trailer looked, or you don't like an actress that's in it, or you don't like a creative decision that was made before even watching the movie, that's what rubs me the wrong way.
So with critics, right, or people that go and they watch it and then they review it and they post it, like, if they didn't like it, how should that be communicated? How do you think that should be communicated?
Yeah, be honest.
Like,
but
because I've seen some reviews of, like, this is the worst thing, horrible, and again, it wasn't made for you.
Yeah, and if you truly feel that way, that the quality of it was that bad, and it's not just because of your misguided comparison of the original, like, if it's not because it's not, this isn't the original Snow White. Well, guess what, Judith? No one said it was going to be the original Snow White.
Yeah.
Like, do you really love the original?
Yeah.
I mean, also, if you're getting real technical, even the original Disney movie that you watched was not the original Disney.
Exactly.
Was not the original
story.
Snow White. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, is the evil witch dancing in heated iron boots till she dies?
Yeah.
If no, then that wasn't even the real Snow White.
Yeah.
So, again, I think a lot of people do pick and choose, like, what they want to be upset about. And again, it goes right back to, it's not made for us.
Yeah.
Like, you take your kid there to go watch the movie, or just don't watch it.
Yeah.
And then just be like, hey, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the new Cinderella. I didn't see the new Little Mermaid.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see. There was another one.
Beauty and the Beast.
I had to see Beauty and the Beast because we were in a podcast at that time. And
Jungle Book.
You know what though? Even though it was like 99% green screen, I like the new Jungle Book.
Yeah,
Lion
King. They've
terrible. The new Lion King was absolutely not for me.
Sure,
and again, it really was. It was not for me. So it's just say your piece. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, this movie was terrible because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Hey, if someone asked me for my opinion, I didn't care. It wasn't for me, and that's it. That's the end of the day. And not because of an actor, not because of whatever you want to sit there and pick and choose.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it was not made for 32-year-old Matthew.
Yeah.
It was made for your 10-year-old, 15-year-old nieces and nephews.
And now you say that, and I go and I'm like, I'm checking my biases now, and I think, I am very harsh on some of the actors growing up just because I don't relate to them. I don't like certain things about them, but like just straight off the back, Elf. I dislike Will Ferrell, but Elf was a good movie, and I can say that today. Before I didn't think that. Yeah. So like, check your biases. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on that. That's just our first shot. That's our warm up conversation. So we hope you guys enjoyed that. All right. Warmed up. We got that shot down. Luis, what are we drinking today? Someone gave me some feedback on our last episode, and I said,
didn't tell us?
Constructive criticism. So I got some feedback. We mentioned the Cuba Libre last time, but this person said they wanted more. Highlight the drink more. So
absolutely,
let's go into it, Luis. What are we drinking today, and why?
We're drinking an old fashioned. Okay. Old fashioned is actually one of my favorite drinks, but there's a little bit of backstory to this. So when let's raise our glasses. First sip.
All right, there you go.
Halfway through mine.
Oh boy, that is a potent drink.
It is. And so, reason why I picked old fashioned, why now it's my favorite, is I So I used to be in mariachi, and we would have concerts, and you'd have some like really great groups and artists, some mentors, and they go, socialize afterwards. And so like I had just turned 21 at one of my big concerts, and I met shout out to Willie, you're amazing. You're one of the nicest people you will absolutely meet. He's a harp player for a professional group, and we got into talking, and I told him, I'm turning 21, I'm learning what to drink, what not to drink, first-hand experience. So if you see me throwing up, don't judge me. No. And he went and he gave me some like, great advice for life and for everything. He's like, you need to, when you're out and you want to be elevated, sophisticated, you get a gentleman's drink. So he goes and he suggests a couple, he's like, start off with like a Tom Collins, drink halfway.
He'll have his own drink. He'll have his own drink in 50 60
now
years.
he will, absolutely.
He does have his own beer. Beero.
Really? Oh, that's true. Yeah, I meant like a drink named after him, though. But he does have a beer line.
Yeah. So Tom Collins, or do a Manhattan, or you can do an old fashioned. Old fashioned's all right. And so I'm like, he's a professional player. I'm 21. I opened for them, so I'm starstruck, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take your advice. I get back into town, and the boys that I was playing with, we were all like, all right, let's go to Native New Yorker. So it's a buffalo wing place, and we went there. Bars in the back, and it's not divey, but it's pretty like, it's not a nice bar. So I walk up there, and I'm like, all right, time to impress. I'm gonna order one of those drinks that I asked for. So I went up there, and I'm like, can I get Manhattan? And she looked at me like, can I see your ID? So I'm like, no, yeah, I want one. And not knowing. And do you know what's in it? Yeah, I think so. And we looked it up. She's like, I don't have half of these ingredients. Like, how old are you, man? Like, you just like 80-year-old in a 21-year-old's body? I did not know that some of these drinks were like really, really aged.
Yeah.
Gentlemen's drinks, right? And so I was like, oh crap. But I learned from that, and I was like, let me find one that's more common, that I actually like, that is gonna have drinks, or that you can sip on it, and people like, you can order pretty much anywhere, but it's still elevated. And old fashions, right? So I've gotten to travel just by myself, and then also for work, and then like anywhere you go, there's some sort of variation of old fashioned. But the base of it is, you have your whiskey, you have sugar, you have bitters, you have a little bit of zest from an orange to give it a sweet taste and flavor, and then you have your cherry. Now people switch out the cherry, they'll do raspberries, blackberries, all sorts of different things. Same thing with like the orange, they might do a different type of citrus, or not as much, or maybe even more. But I like it because it's a great sipping drink. You can just sit there for hours with one glass, and then you're not getting yourself in trouble.
Matt's like, yeah, it gets it there for hours.
Hours, baby.
And this, like, I've just like Matt, we've had our party days, right? I've gone through a lot of bad experiences with other stuff, but this has been a solid, and yeah, I don't mind it. It's great, warm, chill. So this is my favorite drink. We'll get into some of the other ones. We're gonna see a lot of that look from Matt based off of the drinks that I make, but I'm also gonna make his fun drinks. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm a little scared to try to make a Long Island for us, just because it's a lot of liquor. But
yeah,
so is this.
I mean, you're gonna bring the Long Island. I don't know if we need to do a Long Island.
See?
Like this is
Yeah.
this is supposed to be. We're supposed to be staying, neat on this podcast. Not getting hammered.
No, but you wanna,
Yeah,
try
I think
out
the
all these
only
different
reason
things.
you drink a Long Island iced tea is to get blitzed as fast as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I'm gonna pop up Long Island for the podcast, because I like to drive home.
Yeah.
I like to get back to my
So
place.
I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, I've definitely had an old fashioned before. It's something that I have never been a huge fan of. I'm not a neat whiskey drinker. I don't drink much of anything neat. that's never been my bag in terms of alcohol. Like I'd rather have a nice crisp, IPA or something rather than just a 2 fingers of scotch. Like that's never been my bag, and I'm fine with that. I've never been a big just straight whiskey guy or straight anything guy. In this, there's a lot in this. The process to make this is pretty involved. Like there's sugar, there is,
but it's not overwhelming.
You're telling me, because what I taste when I drink this is whiskey. I don't I watched you make these though, so I know that there's a bunch of other shit in here.
And here's the thing: this is how I feel. One of your favorite things to do is to make yourself coffee, right?
Yeah.
And we in the past we've tried the experience of like tasting coffee. And this is you can pick out the notes and different flavors and the roast and all that, right? I can't do that with coffee. It's like, oh, this is coffee. This has sugar in coffee. This is just straight coffee. So yeah.
Okay. I mean,
different taste buds.
True, but I think the major difference there is that, again, I witnessed you putting all the stuff in the drink,
and none of it came through.
When you're drinking coffee and trying to pull tasting notes out, you're really just trying to think of what it tastes like, because there isn't actually any of those things in the coffee. So when a coffee is labeled like with dark chocolate and hints of raspberry, that's just because someone tasted the coffee and said, "Oh, you know what, this kind of tastes like raspberry," but there's no actual raspberry in the coffee.
I learned something today.
Yeah, so it's with this, it's like I watched you put stuff in here, and you know what I taste? Just whiskey. It's so I mean, again, it's not for me. I can understand
my draw to it.
Your draw to it.
Yeah.
Again, there was also, if you guys are watching, there was a giant ball of ice in here. Yeah. And it has since melted, so that's made this a little more bearable for me. But yeah, it's just
well, there was, and like you said, we're accepting criticism. Last week there was some criticism. Matt, what happened with our drinks last week?
Did we drink them too fast?
They were hot, dude.
Yeah. They got warm.
Yeah. I mean, I was fine with it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, in the vein of the old fashioned, it's definitely a drink that will put hair on your chest. But here's my problem. I have enough hair on my chest, so I don't need more. And this tastes like, to me, battery acid. I feel so bad that everyone's watching this and like, hey, I wonder how Matt's liking that drink. And I'm making faces because it's just, I'm not.
It's like he just bit into the bomb on Hot Ones.
Dude, I'd rather be taking hot sauce to the face right now.
We can put some hot sauce.
I'm good.
I'm sure there's a variation of it.
Maybe, but. Yeah, I mean, for me, I can definitely see it's a very refined drink. It's definitely I can definitely feel like, that 1950s dude in a bar, got a cigarette, and you're just like sipping away. I'm not that guy. It's 2025. Give me my nice Philly drinks, beer. I would take Pabst Blue Ribbon over this 10 ways to Sunday.
This is episode 2, you guys. We realize this is called Speakeasy. We realize we're going to be trying a lot of these cocktails.
I know.
This is episode 2. Oh. So bear with us. We're learning to love these drinks. We're learning to experience them. So, hey, by episode 150, Matt might be saying, like, I need a whiskey neat. We might get to that point.
I don't know. I can't.
And we'll play back this clip when we get there.
Exactly.
And
yes, the young Matthew. I remember when he was dying drinking this drink.
See, but I can taste the cherry. You guys didn't get the flavor of it?
I saw you put 2 teaspoons of sugar in here.
And it doesn't taste like sugar?
I see the cherry. I see that it's dissolving and dying. But yeah, no. Couldn't tell you that there was a cherry in there. Nada.
Elevated.
But that's an old fashioned, huh?
Yes.
Right.
This is Luis's old fashioned because, like I said, I made some swaps to it. A lot of the time it's sweeter, and I don't like that. So sorry.
Fair enough. That's the featured drink of the week. We'll have that recipe for Luis's variation of this posted on the social medias if you guys wanted to join us in drinking what we're drinking. Maybe I'll try to have that posted before the actual episode, so if you guys want to make one and sip along with us, you guys can do that. But yeah, cool. All right. So we're gonna jump into a conversation topic. So Matt, your girl, Chappell Roan, was in a little bit of hot water this week. A couple of days ago, she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which is a very popular podcast. And she was talking about
for someone that doesn't watch as many podcasts as you, what's it about?
Call Her Daddy is just I don't listen to it personally. It's one of the biggest podcasts in that's going on right now. I don't even know the host name, and again, I'm sorry, this wasn't supposed to be part of the segment, but she's huge in terms of popularity. She has celebrity guests on. They talk about she basically interviews celebrities basically.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, Chappell Roan was on this podcast. There is a clip that surfaced from it where Chappell is talking about sort of her relationship with politics. There was some drama that happened last year where Chappell Roan didn't come out and endorse Kamala Harris for president. And there was some discourse because she then pushed back against saying like, there's a difference between who I'm going to vote for. And she was saying like, obviously I'm going to vote for Kamala over Donald Trump, but there's a difference between me saying who I'm going to vote for and me endorsing someone. Like I don't basically saying like, I don't know enough about it, or like, I don't know if I want to put my name behind Kamala. And there was some pushback against that because people were saying like, an endorsement from you with your fan base could be huge and, blah, 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 blah. So she pushed back. Chappell Roan, what I've learned about her over the last year is that she is not the type of celebrity who's going to just take criticism and be quiet about it. Like she disagrees with something, she's going to be vocal in public about it,
which is weird because the whole point of it is like you're saying, if you're going to vote for someone, you're either with them or against them at that point. And so like for her to not voice that,
like I said, that's what a lot of people were sort of upset about. So anyway, so she tends to double down on things. So I don't know if what led to this clip was her being asked about that process, but I'm gonna play the clip for you guys so you guys can hear it here. We'll talk about it afterward.
Okay.
I think it's also people expect me to play by different rules because I'm gay and I should be more politically correct about that, and I should actually be way more knowledgeable about it. And so I get asked a lot of fucking crazy questions that a lot of my peers would not get asked. And that's because I'm gay. And that's because like I have like my opinions, but that doesn't mean I'm like completely like I don't know everything about every topic I have opinions on. Like I don't know everything about like being gay. Like I don't know everything about being a woman. I don't know everything about fucking fashion or drag or performing. Like I try to know everything I can, but like when I don't answer a question correctly or like I don't acknowledge one community, it's like how can I do it all? Like
you can't.
How can these girls tour, write, perform, interview, sleep, eat, and fucking work out? And like how can they do it all and lead a team and be a boss and pay people and like and be like fucking so politically educated? It's
exhausting.
And it's also impossible. Also, why the fuck are you looking to me for some political answer? You think I have the fucking answer?
But you're like, listen to my song, bitch. Turn it up.
Like, I'm a pop star. I wish I had the answers. I wish the president was a pop star. But she's not. I think.
Okay, so we'll comment on the video, but the biggest discourse came from sort of the second half of that where she starts to go into like how can these pop stars do all these things and basically stay politically educated and take part in all of these processes. And the discourse around that is like you're a pop star and you're referencing pop stars, but guess what? I have a 9 to 5. I've got to get off of work and take care of my kids. I've got to do all these other things. Like, just because you're a pop star doesn't mean you work harder than the average, person. And I still choose to be politically educated and aware and up to date. So there's been a lot of pushback about her trying to make it seem like, there's just not time, quote unquote, to be politically educated. So that's where a lot of the discourse is coming from. But then also the fact of like, why her quote of like, why are you looking to me for political advice or political information? And it's like, well, even if you don't go that route, you are a pop star, which means you're popular, which means you have a fan base, which means people will take what you say and do, and they'll take that to heart, and they'll use that to frame these decisions that they make, regardless of whether you want them to or not. That will happen.
Even if your message is just go out and vote.
Yeah,
that's using you don't need to stand for one or endorse, as she's trying to say, one political party.
Yeah,
but you should be saying, hey guys, this is really important, or guys and gals, we should be getting out there and we should be voting.
Yeah, but she's basically saying she's too busy to do that.
That's, I mean, like, man, it's crazy too, because like I really respected like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton was like, look, I'm a singer. That's all I am.
Yeah.
But I think you got to get away with that back in
the day,
back in the
so
back in the
connected,
60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
You got to get away with that. Now you don't.
Yeah.
No,
Because you need to have, it's not that you need to have a stance, but you need to have an idea of what's going on. But so many people, millennials, I myself, live with our head in the sand, where it's like, I have to worry about my ecosystem and that's it. But the reality of it is that's not fair to everybody.
Yeah.
We all live here. We all have different things that we're all going through. Yes, I'm never going to fully know Luis's story. I'm never going to fully know your story. But if there's something that could affect you guys and your people that I care about,
and she needs
I
to
have
care
to pay
about her fan
attention
base.
to it. And it's like, and I do not mean to speak out of turn, but it's like, as an ally, if I'm sitting here trying to figure out more stuff like, hey, this is someone trying to pass something against gay rights. I need to learn. I need to know what that is. I need to figure that out so I can do everything in my power so that it does not get anywhere near being voted in.
And that's a great point, because she even mentions it in this clip that she's queer. She's into the whole, like, her whole thing is like the drag scene and everything. And people are like, you're taking those things to further your pop star career, but then you're not wanting to be educated or fight about, or fight against the people who are trying to take these rights away from these people that you're championing in your music. Like, that's where there's a problem, And
I think, like, to her point, how she was saying, she's like, I don't know everything about being gay. I don't know about everything being a woman. I think no one's asking you to know everything, but people are asking you to be able to say, hey, like, hey, this can't happen.
Yeah.
Like X, Y, and Z. What this law is saying this. And I need you guys to be aware of this. And this is how it affects me. Again, that it's rough. I understand that, like, yes, your life, all of our lives are busy. Just because you're a manager at a food restaurant to a pop star, yes, you're touring everywhere, but guess what? You have downtime.
Yeah.
You have time that you're in the bus.
Yeah.
Going. Yes, you should sleep. I'm not saying no, you need to go 8 hours. You need to be up constantly doing
I would
that.
say that she has more resources to be able to educate herself too.
You can pay someone to go look up the things and then come to you and say, hey, you might want to be aware of this. I pay nobody. I have to literally say, do I relax and video game and watch a movie, or with these next 2 hours, because I use this time to try and educate myself a little bit more. And that doesn't make anybody better than anybody, but it is like, it's almost like a civic duty.
Yeah.
You need to care about.
Not even almost like it.
Truthfully, and that was a misspeak on me. It is a civic duty.
Yeah.
Because it's like, again, it goes right back to that quote. Those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. And I'm probably butchering that, so sorry. But it really is true, though. If you don't know what's going on, you're just going to cause. You're actually in the end of the day, you're going to cause problems.
Yeah, and I'll butcher another quote to support that. It's like all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. It's like like being silent is not being neutral anymore. Not in 2025. Like being silent is being a part of the problem. If you're just like, hey, I'm a pop star, my job is to make music. I'm not political. You're part of the problem. Like you need to use your voice to help the world. That you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
You're perpetuating the don't look over here.
Yeah.
Where the problem is look over here where I'm fun. And that's yes, I understand that. I want there to be distractions like video gaming again for me or music, but I do need if you keep doing that, now we're not seeing what's going on over here.
Exactly.
And that's bad.
Well, and so at the end of the day, like she chose to be a pop star, so she has that responsibility to get back and to understand. If you're gonna be in the light, if you're gonna be a focal point, like you should be trying to do better about it. Otherwise, you're gonna go and you're gonna destroy the country.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and I don't want to, badmouth her too much because we're three heterosexual men in America. Like, we can get roasted for doing that online. But like, I just think that it is sort of. I disagree with her stance on like being a pop star is means you're too busy to stay informed. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Everybody's busy. Like everybody has responsibilities. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's not like you only have 12 and the rest of us have 24. We all have the same amount of time and most of us are stressed and trying to fit more into that time than we can. Mm-hmm. So it's not just pop stars that are busy, but you do have a responsibility to stay informed and to stay educated. And if you have a platform, you do, in my opinion, at least, you do have a responsibility to try to use that platform to better the world.
Mm-hmm. Even again, like LeBron James. Yeah. How he got told by a news outlet to shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not going to do that. Again, Chappell, you just got told to, you're saying, I'd rather shut up and sing. Yeah. You can't do that.
No.
You really can't.
And I think, I honestly think, like,
not anymore.
She's a smart woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Passionate.
And I think that there's going to be a moment where you have some self-reflection and maturity and you're going to grow. It takes time.
Yeah, that's a big aspect of it too.
Look at 21-year-old us.
Yeah.
Were we as involved? Were we as engaged? What were we doing? What were our focal points?
But we were also in the international spotlight, like shit. It's kind of
but
you got to mature a little bit faster.
Exactly.
That is two parts, though.
Yeah.
And in that sense, she needs to. I hope that she has the support and the community around her to be able to do that. She has the resources.
Yeah, of course.
So. Yeah. But you are absolutely right, though. I do not know Chappell Roan's age, but being young, you really, that is probably where you are your most selfish because you really are like, I'm worried about me and mine and making sure that I get what I want. And again, being in a national outlet like she is, there's other things that you have to put into consideration.
Yeah. And that's why you have, and I don't know if she does, but that's why you have PR teams. Mm-hmm. That's why you have people who manage your public image. Like that's literally their job. And again, not to say that you shouldn't be yourself all the time, but when you're in that spotlight, you have to know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. Otherwise you get in trouble. So, it is one of those things where you can say the wrong thing and then people will look at you sideways and then you're kind of like, well, I'm just being myself. But,
is it causing harm to be yourself?
Yeah.
And if it is, then reevaluate.
So, I just thought it was interesting, especially since you brought her up last week, being an artist. And obviously she's, like I said, hugely popular right now. And she's been in this position before. She's been very vocal about who she is and what she thinks. And she's been in this hot water before and she's found a way out of it. So I'm sure this won't do any lasting damage to her career or anything like that. But I do think it's a learning experience, that you need to watch what you say, because even though your intentions might be good and you might be thinking like, oh, I'm just going to say, if I'm myself, then that's all I can be. When you're an international pop star, that's not necessarily always the case. Like you kind of have to watch what you say. You have to watch how you say it. And if you're not comfortable with something, maybe the best thing you can be is just silent about it. Like, if you didn't share these thoughts, you wouldn't have this trouble.
Yeah, and that is another aspect of it too. Is when you're saying this stuff, you're always open for criticism.
Absolutely.
Because even us, like again, to the people that are going to roast us for being 3 straight dudes who did this, who talked about on this aspect of it, we're kind. Sorry.
Yeah, hey,
help.
we're just sharing our opinions. You know what? Like you said,
I'm a nice guy, I swear. Yeah. But again, though, it really is. It's
help us learn. Actually,
yeah, that's very true. Because again, we all don't know everything.
Yeah.
But it goes down to it being a civic duty to try your best.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue people have with it is, again, like her comments about time management, and also the fact that she's basically and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it sounds like she's saying, like, she's a pop star. It's not her job.
Yeah.
To push people to vote or to be educated or to be informed. Like, that's not what her job is. But I'm saying it kind of is. Like, if you have that platform and you have that much reach, you kind of like, it comes with the territory. It may not be your primary job, but it comes with the territory.
What to kind of like not fully pivot, but it goes right back to like how streamers. There was this guy, I do not remember their name.
Yeah.
But they had stated that like, my streaming job is more stressful than your 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. And I was like, in what fucking world?
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have to be customer service 10 hours out of the day. You have to make sure that you're being fun, being engaging. You don't have to deal with people yelling at you.
Yeah.
You can mute the person that says, you need to shut up.
Yeah.
You're muted. Kick him out of my chat. I got to listen to that person talk. I actually got to reach out to that person because I don't want them to cancel their services.
And that's someone trying to justify all the criticism that they've gotten about, oh, you're a streamer, that's your job. That's like a grow up, because I'm sure that person's gotten that comment a million times. So I think he or she's just pushing back against that, because there's no way they believe that. Like, there's no way you believe sitting in front of a camera for 12 hours a day is just as stressful as, because to make a blanket statement like that, as like you're including ER nurses in that comment. Then.
Yeah.
So you're saying that your job is more stressful than being an ER nurse? Again, think about what you say, people, before you say it.
And they chose that. Right? Yeah. You can stop streaming at any time. You can leave your job at any time, but there's needs behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
I got bills.
Yeah.
Everybody's got bills. Yeah. So everybody's got their own shit. So let's just try to be kind to one another.
Yes.
All right. That being said, though, we are going to jump to a break. We've got top 5 on the other side, so stick around, guys. All right, so let's jump straight into this week's top 5 segment. So we're going to be doing the top 5 places that you've visited or lived. So we all have traveled quite a bit. You guys are interesting because you guys have lived in the same general area that you grew up in for all of your life, which is wild. I cannot imagine what that must feel like. I can imagine being able to run into people you potentially went to like elementary school with. It's got to be crazy.
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
Makes it small.
Yeah, but it's not anything like, oh, I don't want to ever see you again, I would hope. No, it's just like, oh, cool, how you been?
Yeah. I mean, just the concept of it though, like, is wild to me because I've moved around so much in my life. Okay. But anyway, that's not what the topic is. The topic is top 5 places that you've visited or lived. So I guess, Mesa could be on there for you guys, but let's go to Luis first. Actually, let's switch it up a little bit. All right, from 5 to 1, Luis.
From 5 to 1,
places you visited or lived.
Did we do 5 to 1 last time too?
We did 5 to 1 last time too.
Well, I wrote these wrong.
Just read it backwards.
Oh my goodness. All right, 5 to 1. I'm gonna start off with El Paso, Cheyenne, Dallas.
Time out. Let's get states on these.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Dallas, Texas. New York, and San Diego, California.
Okay.
San Diego's your number 1?
San Diego's my number 1.
Oh, wow.
All right, so we got 2 cities in Texas on there.
Yeah, a lot of Texas.
Right? That's scary.
That is. You don't strike me as a Texas boy.
And I'm not. But the cities are special.
What about El Paso? I've known a few people that have held El Paso near and dear to their heart. What is it about that city that is so special?
The community.
Okay.
So I've been to El Paso 3 times. 3 times because I drove through once. But every time I've been to El Paso, it's just everyone's so friendly. It's a diverse culture and it's growing. It sucks that it's in a dust bowl because that part for me is not fun. I like to be clean, and I don't like having to shower multiple times a day, whether it's humid or dusty or dirt, whatever.
Gotcha.
But just the first time I was there for a surprise birthday party for a friend's grandmother, and we weren't supposed to be anywhere near where they would be. No one knew that we were going to be there because we were going to be performing, and I was like, well, we got free time, I'm gonna go to the mall. Went to the mall. Everyone was super friendly, engaged again. And then I walked back to the hotel room, and as I'm walking back, I'm like, I'm hungry, I'm gonna stop by a grocery store. Welcoming, and they change on language. Like a lot of the little pockets in El Paso are bilingual, at least. So you see people just mixing up the language and starting off, in English and then going to Spanish. And then if you're in the side where you have the Asian culture, you'll hear people just switching languages, which is really unique. You don't normally see that in bigger cities or where you have the melting pots, right? So I thought that was very, very cool about El Paso and the community around there. Friendliest little town I've seen.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And Dallas?
So Dallas is kind of similar. It's got its own pockets, but it's I like it more than Phoenix, just because there's seasons.
Well, what was your business in Dallas? What was the reason for you going there?
Dallas, I was visiting that same friend. He moved there for work, and so he's a teacher in Dallas, but he's also involved with the sports team there. I don't know if I can say the name, but well, are they going to call me out? No, they're not. So he got involved with the Dallas Cowboys and became a flag runner, and I went 2 times for a show. To play mariachi music. So we did the Hispanic Heritage Month. We did it front stage, and then we did in the Players Lounge playing for a little bit. So very, very cool experience. We got to tour, and then I was also there for his wedding there, and again we did another tour of Dallas. We went to downtown, went out for the night. And you really just get so many ecosystems in there. If you want to go to nature, you want to feel the seasons, you have that. But if you want a night out and be engaged and socialize, you do that too. I know that there's a lot of traffic getting into and out of Dallas, but it's not as bad as some other cities. And again, it's so vibrant. You can do so much.
I've heard, because I haven't met or associated with a lot of people who have who've lived in Texas or really in the Dallas area. But the one person that I did told me that Dallas was not fun, but Fort Worth is really fun. And Fort Worth is super close to Dallas, I guess. So they were saying they compared it a lot to Phoenix. There's not a lot. It's a big city, but there's not a lot to do. But they were saying Fort Worth is really fun. Austin is the only place in Texas that I could ever see myself personally living because of the art scene that's in Austin. But I've heard good things about Houston. But Dallas isn't one that you hear very often, so that's interesting.
Yeah, well, and so when you say that it's Dallas Fort Worth area, that's kind of what I was including.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and kind of like LA, right? You go to little sub pockets of LA, but LA is central.
Fair
location.
Enough.
So,
Fair enough. All right, and then like Matt said, what was your number 2?
New York.
Okay, but no. Before we go there, I gotta hit this Cheyenne, Wyoming thing.
Wyoming.
I know why you were there,
yeah,
but
yeah. So,
that's probably gonna throw our listeners off. What?
Cheyenne, Wyoming. And the population isn't as low as some other places I've been to, because I've been to Artesia, New Mexico, which is population of 80,000 people.
Okay.
Half of them work there and half of them are in the military base, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So, but Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it's scary too, but I as a town, and just the town, I fell in love with it. So I had the opportunity, and I say opportunity, like one of my bosses reached out and had me go and cover a building there. Unfortunately, there were some bad things that happened at that building. The general manager and part of his leadership team were let go.
I want to pause really quick. I hate to interrupt you, but I just know that we've talked about
my job.
We talked about your job. We talked about you went on a cruise for work. So earlier this episode, you talked about something. So just you don't have to be specific, but what do you do?
My title is general manager for a movie theater company.
There we go. Okay. Just to give you guys some context out there, you guys are probably like, "What does this guy do?"
I wanted to keep it as mysterious as I could for as long as I could, but no, yeah, general manager for a movie theater company.
Okay.
And so the theater there, they had fired the GM, right? And they were looking for volunteers, and I got volunteered to go, and I thought I was going to be there for a month, and I ended up staying there for 3 months, which is why last episode I said I missed my niece's birthday. She was born and I was in Cheyenne. Sad about it, but it was one of those things, life. But in that town, I got put into like this hotel room that was like all the way across town. It is a small town, like you can drive around it in like 30 minutes, I think. But downtown and the areas of it is just, it's so historical, and you appreciate it for what it is. And it's growing. It's one of those places that like people go to like get away, just live a smooth, calm life. Everything's so chill that you can reflect on a lot of things. So while I was there, like my most of my time was like I was working 10-12 hour shifts, right? And then on the one day off that I'd schedule myself, I'd go and I'd explore downtown. And you can like really see the hardworking people there. Like, they want to be there. They love what they're doing. There was a Greek restaurant right next to the theater, and everyone knew the restaurant. Everyone knew the owner by name. They were friendly. And they would like literally drive an hour, 2 hours from, so like the closest town in to go and eat that food. And they knew that they were there because they'd been there for 30 plus years. It's just one of those small towns that like they're welcome to growing and they're learning. But it still feels like a calm place to be.
Small town vibes for sure. Yeah. Which is in complete juxtaposition to your
top
two,
New
York and San Diego.
Well, and part of the reason why like I fell in love with it, and I so the interim position that I was in, the director of the region was like, it would be, at the time I was 28.
6 years ago.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Okay. And at the time he's like it would be very disrespectful for where you're at and the ambition that you're showing for me to offer you this position, but if there were anything that I would you'd be my first choice. And I'm like, if I were like 5 years younger or 10, 20 years older, I'd say yes. Like, it would be a great starting point in my career, but I've already been, through part of it. And this would be like an incredible town to like retire and just, get to enjoy the scenery, enjoy a little bit of it, go at your own pace. But that wasn't my pace. Like, my pace at the time was, let's go, I'm hungry. So I've gotten the chance to go back to Cheyenne. My family, like I said, we're very close. We like to take trips. We took a family road trip up to Mount Rushmore and stopped in Cheyenne on the way there. I'm getting emotional over this. But it was a long time to be far away from my family. So I took them around and showed them everything. And they were like, wow, it actually is beautiful over here. So I love Cheyenne, and it's always going to be in my heart. And who knows, maybe, 60-year-old, 70-year-old Luis ends up retiring there.
Maybe.
Although we lost that theater, so no.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And
right.
top two.
Yeah, top two.
I mean, I'm guessing number 2 might be your top 1 just from knowing you, but we'll see.
We'll see.
New York. A lot of it has to be just, again, ambition. Everything is going. And everyone is just engaged and living in the moment. And yeah, they're running around and they're hardworking, but they're there, they're present. And you can kind of escape to the little subsections that are just communities. Everyone, it's a melting pot. It really is a melting pot, and you can experience pretty much anything there, which is incredible. You can't say that about a lot of places yet.
Fair enough. And then number 1, San Diego. It means a whale's vagina.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about it last week, right? And it's on the coast, similar to that. Like, the food there is amazing anywhere you go. There's a lot of activities. Balboa Park is gorgeous if you just want to walk around. That, and like, so I play Pokemon Go. It's one of the hobbies that I haven't had a chance to talk about, but there's so many like little places to go to play and be engaged, on screen, off screen. And the bar, the downtown scene is really, it's fun. It's for everyone too. When I was down there by myself, like, there were so many different diverse groups going and just having fun. So I could see myself, like, when I'm not working, going to the beach or going downtown or driving, close by. But yeah.
Nice.
It's expensive though.
That it is. It's California, so that goes without saying. But no, solid list. Lots of diversity there. Lots of, you got some small town vibes. You got some big cities in there. You got some mid-range places. So yeah, good list there.
I can tell he really likes his like small communities.
Yeah. I'm
really
all about
appreciates
community and like growing. So
yeah,
anywhere you can find that is, I think, a great place to live.
Awesome. All right, I'll go next there. So I'm gonna go 5 to 1. So top 5 places that I've lived or visited. Number 5, I'm gonna go with Bloomington, Indiana. Number 4 is gonna be San Diego. Number 3 is gonna be San Francisco. Number 2 is going to be New York, and number 1 is gonna be New Orleans. So,
what states?
oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, San Diego, California, San Francisco, California, New Orleans, Louisiana. Or sorry, New York, New Orleans, Louisiana. Yeah, not the. I feel like those are all big enough to know, other than Cheyenne and El Paso. But hey, I could see what you did there.
I think my favorite thing is that, like, at least your top 4 are all trips that we've all made as friends at some point.
Yeah, we have.
I haven't been in New York.
No, but our friend group has. They went to visit you when you lived in New York.
Yeah, but you motherfuckers didn't come.
Yeah, I did not. I was a poor boy who made terrible financial decisions. But again, though, it's like all these great places that you share memories with friends. But what makes
That's true.
So what makes is
so
you said Indiana.
Bloomington, Indiana was my number
is that
5.
the home base? Is that where you were born?
No. I was born in Detroit, Michigan.
Come on. We talked about this.
I don't know, but I'm asking questions because we have new listeners who might want to know a little bit more about the main guy. Oh my God.
So yeah, born in Detroit. I moved to Indiana when I was 13. So back in 2003, lived there for 8 years until 2021. That's when I moved here. So big chunk of my life, my formative years were in Bloomington. Yeah, so obviously 13 to 21, that's, that's where you become the person that you are pretty much, right?
I don't say 25, but 13, 21, that's a big chunk.
Formative years for sure. So a lot of good to great memories from that city. Lots of, bad to traumatic memories from that city. But again, my whole adolescent life was sort of in that city. Like, I made lifelong friends in that city. I became the person who I am in that city. That city will always feel like home to me. As much as I love Detroit, like I moved out of Detroit when I was 13, so most of what I remember from that is, the family that I had when I was there, moments more than actual memories. But yeah, no, Indiana, Bloomington specifically is where I became me, so that's where that city shaped me. If again, like, it's just the place that feels most like home or felt most like home. I would probably say Arizona feels more like home now than any other place I've been, just because I've been here for so long, and my family is here. My wife and my daughter. Obviously, the closest friendships I have are here. So, Bloomington is definitely will always hold a special place in my heart. And again, it's got that familiar feel to it. I think a reason I don't have an Arizona city on that list is because there's not a specific city that feels the way Bloomington feels. Like, I couldn't pick like Gilbert over Mesa. I couldn't pick Mesa over Tempe. Like, there are moments in each of these little suburbs that I've lived out here that feel nice, but I think Bloomington is just overall the main. Yeah, it feels more like home than any singular city in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah. San Diego is my number 4. I love San Diego. First time I ever saw the ocean was in San Diego, and that changed my life. Seeing the ocean for the first time, and as cliche and maybe cheesy as that sounds, I think the first time you witness something like that is truly incredible. And to have that experience as an adult was wild.
Was it when we went together, or did you go before?
I think the first time I went to San Diego was when we all went together. Yeah, okay. I've been back several times since then, but I think that was the first time. So yeah, incredible moments there. Like Matt said, a lot of that is because of the people that I went to. The people that I visited that city with, those moments will always be, special parts of my life. But yeah, it's a great city. I agree with you, Luis. It's got like, it's expensive, but it has that, you get sort of everything with it. You can get the big city vibes. You can get the small town vibes from it. Lots of local places, local restaurants that are great. Lots of different beaches, obviously, that you can go to. The beach in general is just really is one of my favorite places to be. Which, as a city boy, I never thought I would have that that thought process. Yeah, but I do love the ocean. I would love to have if I ever win that $500 million, whatever we were talking about last week, like, just being able to wake up to the ocean every day would be an incredible experience, because it just represents so much possibility, I think. So, that's why that's my number 4. Frisco. I know San Franciscoans hate it when people call that, but I love that city. That could arguably be my number 1. Just an incredible city. We visited there together.
We took a road trip up.
And it was just super nice. The weather was perfect. I loved the architecture. Again, I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but I love so much about it. And it just felt comfortable being there, even though we were only there for a few days. Like, I felt like, oh man, I could see myself living here again if I was a billionaire, because talk about expensive. San Francisco.
You might only be able to stay there for a year with that amount of money.
Yeah, no, great city though. Again, but obviously my memories of hanging out with you guys there was a big draw to have that on my list as well. New York will always have my heart. I lived in New York for about 7 months, and yeah, that's probably, if I wrote a book about my life, New York would get its own chapter for sure. I had always been able to sort of make friends wherever I went. Like, I learned that was always a big sort of hurdle for me moving places. Was like, man, like, I have these friends here, I have this community here. I'm afraid that if I go somewhere else I won't have that. But moving from Indiana to Arizona, I was able to find a core group of people to sort of, build my found family. And then that's what made leaving Arizona so hard to move to New York. And I did that 3 years after I had been here. I had only been here for 3 years
Yeah.
before I moved to New York. So it's not
Gosh,
like I had
was
been
it
here.
only 3?
Yeah,
Wow.
I moved to New York in 2014, beginning of 2014. So actually only 2 because I came here at the end of 2011. So I was here for 2012 and 2013 basically, and then I left very
Crazy to
early in
think about.
2014. Yeah. But yeah, I moved to New York, and I was worried that I wasn't going to find my place, my tribe. But I did. I found them. I have some lifelong friends that I still talk to, not as often as I would like, but I found some friends. We became very close very quickly. And that's what really made me believe that, hey, you don't really have that shouldn't, if that's what's stopping you from moving away from somewhere that you're comfortable, you will find your tribe. You will find your people wherever you go. Like, you know, don't let that be a door. Like, do it. If that's what you're worried about, you will find people. So but I love New York. I like I said multiple times, I'm a city boy. So I love being around people and buildings and life. I love just being around, like, the energy is, and again, I'm being very cliche during the segment, but the energy that New York has, like, you just feel like you're a part of it. Like, you just feel like you're a part of the world. Like, you feel like you're somewhere where things are happening. You know, it's crazy thing to describe, but
fast too, man. Cars, cars everywhere.
Yeah.
People moving, walking, people having conversations. It is a experience for sure to be in New York.
And I love it. I know that might be a turnoff to a lot of people. Matt, you went there, you visited there.
I did.
You liked it, but you didn't necessarily love it, right?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of your experience there.
I think New York kind of made me realize I am a suburbs boy.
Just a small town boy.
I'm a small town boy, because it's like I did love how convenient everything was. Like, you walk outside of the hotel.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I want to get good food. All right, there's 20 pizza stands. There's a hot dog stand to my left. Someone's selling falafels down over there.
And this is 4 a.m. It's literally the city that never sleeps. Yeah.
And I respected that. But then there was a level of where, like, I'm walking, and because so many people are coming and going, I'm a big
burly
guy. Yeah. So it's like, I already don't like taking up a lot of space. So I'm like crunching my shoulders to be like, oh God, I got to get through this, like, spot. I'm so sorry. And then I say also, when I walk past people, I say, oh, excuse me, motherfuckers bump into me and just fucking go right on through. And I'm like, all right, asshole. And it's like, but that's unfortunately, that's me from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, oh man, you're right in front of this aisle that I need to get into. Oh, excuse me. Oh, so sorry. Yeah. But New York,
New York
how
time.
fucking dare you be in my way?
New Yorkers value their time more than anything else. It's like, if you're in the way, like, get in, get what you need, and get out. We don't have time for you to sit here and browse. Like, you've been standing in line for 10 minutes, and then you get to the front of the line and you don't know what you want.
See, I get that. I definitely get that.
Yeah, it's like time is more valuable than anything to New Yorkers. And if you do something to impede on that time,
they'll let you know.
You'll have a bad time. But I will say that New Yorkers get a bad rap when it comes to just being, because people think New Yorkers are rude and mean. No, I don't think it's that. I think they're impatient.
Yeah.
And I think that they have very low tolerance for, like, for tourists. They have a very low tolerance for people, you know, again, impeding on their time. But the first time I went to New York was back in 2011. Me and my friend Mustafa went there for the premiere of the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the American premiere in New York. Big Harry Potter nerd, I guess I'm outing myself right now. But so we went there for the red carpet premiere, and we got lost literally within the first 5 minutes. We didn't know where we were. This was a time before smartphones were, like, you know, as popular as they are now. So I don't think either of us had a smartphone. And we couldn't just Google, like, how to get to the hotel. But a very nice gentleman, literally, who was on the subway, we were, like, freaking out. He turned to us and was like, yo, do you guys need help to find where you're going? We're like, yes, please. And he literally not only did he just tell us which trains to get onto, like tell us where to go, he went with us.
Dude.
Took like an hour out of his day to tell us where to go. He transferred trains with us, got us to where we need to go, and jumped back on his train and went about his
Or
day.
besides, you have to kill you. He's like, man, maybe I can.
No. And that's what I experienced too. But I don't think, in the sense of it, like you said, they have a low tolerance. I think they have high expectations for individuals, right? Like, if you're going to be here, if you're going to be involved with this, like, you better know what you're doing or learn quick.
Yeah, I think New Yorkers' patience, they have less patience for New Yorkers who are, breaking the rules than they do for tourists.
Yeah.
If you're a tourist, like we were clearly tourists, me
Yeah.
and my buddy, 17-year-old kids, like, lost on a train versus
they're gonna
someone who looks like they're from New York, standing in line and not knowing what they want. Then you'll get roasted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, I think, you do have a little more patience for tourists because you grow up with tourists. Like everybody goes to New York, especially in Manhattan. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. I just remember my mom and I got lost on the train system as well.
Yeah.
And I went to the people in the booth thinking that, like, again, hey, you're here, you're a worker here, you're someone I can ask a question to. And I remember asking them, like, hey, how do we get to Staten Island? And I was like, because where we were at. And they're like, okay, so you're going to take the D train to the E train, then you'll transfer to the 1 train. Then from there, you'll get to the F train. And I'm like, can you write this down? No. I was like, fuck, dude. And we followed the train system for like 2 hours, my mom and I. We did not get to Staten Island.
Oh, man.
We I don't know. We probably went on the Z train at
How
some
come you
goddamn
guys,
point.
not to get too off topic, but why not just pull out your phone? I'm sure there's got to be an app that tells you.
So there is. I had no service underground.
Oh.
And then also I started dying being underground. That was hot and smelled terrible.
Yeah, New York in the summer is rough. New York in the winter is rough. It's extremes of both winter and summer.
And I got blasted by the under air walking by
It does have a stench to it.
like I was walking on top of like one of the grade areas and just the wind of a train passed up.
Yeah.
I think I got knocked out by Prime Mike Tyson. Bam. I was like, yep, get me out of here.
You do get used to it. That's one of the things. Like, I was only there for 7 months, but it's like a crash course when you're there and I was there alone. Like, I didn't
you
move.
had to learn.
Yeah, so it was like, figure it out or get fucked. So yeah, it was, but I loved every minute of that experience. Everything's overpriced, everything's loud, and I loved every minute of it. It was just a great experience, and I would love to move back to New York and live there and raise my family there. But again, it's expensive, so I don't think it's gonna happen. And I'm not the type of person who wants to live there, but live outside the city, and then because I think it's like, if you're gonna live in New York, live in New York, But hey, maybe I'll win the lottery. Yeah. But number one, last and very much not least is New Orleans, the Big Easy. I think I've visited New Orleans the most out of any other city that I've been to in my life, and it's just incredible, man. It's like being in a different country without being in a different country. It's a whole. They have their own culture. They have their own language, basically. The food is just incredible. And there's just, like, you talk about like a sense of community, obviously with the tragedies of like Katrina that happened there. I think that just helped make the city, the bonds of people from New Orleans just stronger. And you just feel it, just, again, it's an energy thing, but you feel just like you're a part of a community when you're there. And it's awesome. I would definitely that would be top of my list in terms of places that I would want to live. Again, very expensive, and also the whole hurricane thing is like it's built basically in a bowl. They're below sea level, so it's like you're kind of asking for it. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna go out here and invest a bunch of money in a property that's probably gonna get washed away at some point. But if it wasn't for that, then that would definitely be high up on the list of places where I would want to put my roots, to start my family, not start my family. I started my family in Arizona, to uproot my roots in Arizona and drop them off in New Orleans and plant them over there, replant my roots. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great city. It's a beautiful city. And I would go yearly if I could. I've been there for multiple different things. We went for Mardi Gras
Yes.
in our friend group here. I've been there for the jazz festival. I went in high school. We went right after, not right after, a couple of years after Katrina to help with the relief and the cleanup. So yeah, I've been there a lot of several different times. I've loved it every single time, and I wish I could go back more. But
What was your favorite food from New Orleans?
oh man, like how do you even choose? I'm a as gross as it sounds, the crawfish are awesome. Any seafood really.
Yeah.
Like give me a catfish po' boy, give me
Yep.
shrimp and grits, give me anything, any type of seafood out there is definitely gonna be my favorite.
And then I did have a question from New York. And
Yeah,
since
yeah.
you lived there, like, was there a specific location or place that you like just absolutely, if you had to go to New York, you had to check out, like, where would that be? For you?
So for me personally, and this wouldn't be a recommendation for the like general public, but I did find a watering hole, if you will. I found a bar called Professor Tom's out there, and I went there actually. They did Game of Thrones screenings every Sunday. So I would go there and they would do Game of Thrones like premieres.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I became a fixture, and it was one of those things where I would walk in and I knew a few of the bartenders. I would just sit down and chill. Once I made my friends out there, I took my friends there. That became like one of our regular spots. One of the bartenders there, Wes, who passed away a few years ago, actually, tragically. Very young guy. He would, I guess I can say this now, but he would give me free drinks. Like I would literally sit at the bar and he would just literally refill my bar glass. So like while we were just sitting there like chilling and talking.
See,
And
but that's the community.
yeah, that's the community thing. It was like, it was such a cool experience. And again, even in a big city like New York, you can find that small town vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, even with my friends, again, not you two, who from Arizona, who came to visit me when I lived there.
You're gonna hold us to that. Now we're gonna have to take a trip to New York. You know that, right?
The three of us.
That would be great. I took them to the bar, and they were, it was cool to sort of show them around, what had become like a home for me. So yeah, and that was in the East Village. So lots of cool places like that. The pizza is as good as they make it seem in movies. Just the convenience of everything too. Like Matt said, like you can just go anywhere at any time and get anything.
Yep.
Like nothing closes. Like everything's open. It's just an awesome city.
Nice.
Lights are always on.
Lights are always on.
It's a great time.
Okay, so that's my top 5. Let's close it out with Matt over there. What you got for us, man?
Okay, so my top 5, number 5 is San Diego, California as well.
Okay.
My number 4 was Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My number 3 is New York. My number 2 is New Orleans as well. And then my number 1, I had to say London.
Okay.
I had to put London there.
London town.
London.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah, I mean San Diego, California. For me, I have family out there. I had an uncle who lived like 20-30 minutes away from California Adventures in Disneyland. So we would stay with them a lot. And that was a lot of my memories, like being at his house as a little kid, but then also all the trips that we did as friends out to California or out to San Diego. I just had a really great time. I like visiting the cities. I do not like staying in them for long times, but I like the memories that I had of like being a kid, having easy access to go to California Adventures and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Las Vegas. When I was 21, my mom was the first one that took me to Las Vegas, which was a great trip because I got to play blackjack with the brother from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He sat at the table, and I was like starstruck because I was like, "Oh my god!" But I was like, "Oh, this is super super cool." We're just playing blackjack at the MGM Grand.
Nice.
And then again, it's one of that probably is like we did 2 major trips as a giant group, and that one was probably my favorite because, well, as the giant group, it was one of my favorites because we had such a great time in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was like at least 12 of us.
Yeah, it'd take me a long time
Yeah.
to count through that. But yeah, there was quite a few.
It was quite a few.
Yeah.
We had great times. Burnt all my money on the second day, the morning of the second day of our 5-day trip. But I wouldn't change it.
I was gonna say the fact that you can consider it a great trip and you
burning
burned all
all
your
my
money.
money. Yeah. Oy, what a time.
Yeah.
And then New York, my number 3. Again, another really fun trip that I took with my mom for her birthday. We were there in September. And I think, again, like I like the city. It is a lot of fun. And the access to food is so crazy because like, it's funny because London says that they're a melting pot. They have got nothing on New York. Let me tell you, the amount, how easy it is to find Chinatown, Little Russia, just from going through, not really like just 4 blocks.
Yeah.
But what it feels like is not that far. And you're like, oh yeah, no, holy crap. This is the Chinatown. This is Little Russia.
Yeah.
And just the amount of foods, the smells, some really bad, some really good, like the different types of foods being cooked in the areas. Awesome. Again, I'm a really big foodie, so New York was great in that regard because it was just such a fun experience.
Nice.
And then my number 2, New Orleans. I mean, that was us with our buddy Sesmus, who's not here. Love you, buddy. You're wish you were here.
Where is he? Just so that it doesn't sound like you've
Oh,
pulled him
yeah.
off somewhere.
No, he's just not here. He's got
not here,
he's got a little baby boy
He's at home,
Elijah.
yeah.
Exactly.
He's taking care of being a good daddy. But New Orleans, I mean, that the first thing we did the last 3 days of Mardi Gras. And, I think like when you're a kid and you're seeing Mardi Gras, you're like, oh, I gotta go. But to actually be able to experience it and the food, the drinking, it led to a great amount of experiences.
Yeah.
Dude, just the music. I'm a humongous jazz fan. And I loved like when we went to, I think it was like the day that it was after Fat Tuesday. So we were just chilling out in New Orleans and we went to the French Quarter and we just could hear the big brass bands playing out in front of the museums. And I just was so enthralled. I love music.
Yeah.
So that really was like a feast of the years for me.
Nice.
And then London. I mean, finally getting out of the country, having my passport, realizing that even though I speak English, I do not speak the Queen's English, and people looking at me, what are you saying? And I'm like, I don't think I'm speaking difficult here, man. Where do I go to get here? Oh, fuck me. Which again, really fun time though. Food wise, not the hottest. But that's also, I do not blame London. I blame my cousins because they wanted to go to McDonald's. The food, like how much they wanted to dabble, not high at all.
Well, that's the joke about London anyway, though, right? Like they don't have
spices.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's
Spices,
just
yeah.
even though like some of the best restaurants in the world are in London,
They're
they're
French.
they're all like other countries' cuisines.
Yep.
Like no one's cooking British food.
Which is crazy because like when I got to London and I got fish and chips because you're there. Why
Sure,
not?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, do you guys have like Tabasco sauce or like tapatio, some like hot sauce? And they're like, we have curry, and I was like, absolutely not. That's not what I asked for. Do you have hot sauce?
Yeah.
And they're like, we have curry. And I was like, oh, I am in for a terrible time. So I loved London. Couldn't live there though because I love spicy food. I couldn't go without.
Import your own hot sauce.
Yeah, right. Bring it with me.
Start a craze out there. That might be a business opportunity.
Which is crazy because wasn't there a In-N-Out that opened up in London for like an hour and it was like sold out?
Was there?
I remember. It might have been like a story a long time ago, but
Okay.
I vaguely remember an In-N-Out opening somewhere for just a little bit, and they were like wall to wall full.
Did you have I think we've talked about this, but again, for the sake of the podcast, did you get a full English while you were there? Full English breakfast?
No,
No?
I did not because my aunt had really great planning out for the trip for the day. So every day we were doing something.
Yeah.
But like food was, if we're hungry, and I'm like, I want to eat breakfast.
Yes, it shouldn't be an if we're hungry type thing. It should be like, let's
stop
the food.
But that was on me though, because I was like, hey, you know what? I am here. I want to do everything. We did a bunch of tours. I got to do a Jack the Ripper tour. Nice. So it like was a walking tour. So it took us to where were not exactly where where a lot of the victims were found, but like areas that were like, yes, this is where they were found, but now it's like a building is here, or now it's a park.
Got you.
But yeah, there was a lot of cool things that we did that like, I mean, if it would have been me by myself, I would have gotten fatter because I would have just been eating food all day.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great time. And then we got to go to the Universal Studios. It's like, it's where they have the set stuff for Harry Potter. And that was just such a cool experience as well. Yeah. So cool. London was great for experiences. Food sucked, but that's,
great for experiences. And also it sounds like what it meant, because you obviously that's getting your passport's a big deal. So now that opens the door to international travel. I'm trying to
get a group together now to do Japan, because that's my big go-to. I think Japan and Ireland are the next two I really want to hit.
Just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
If you can. I think what I've learned, because I've always been sort of the planner of our group, or I was back when we were traveling a lot.
Yes.
If you can just get everything together, like, and tell people a price, you're more likely to get people on board instead of the hypotheticals. Just say, hey, I looked it up. The hotel is going to be this much. The airfare is going to be this much, and then whatever you need to bring for food and activities.
Yeah.
If you can give people a number, then I think they're more likely to say either I'm down for that, or nah, it's just not the right time.
Yeah, and that just lets me know, okay, well, I got to do this by myself then.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people are less likely to be interested in hypotheticals than they are into someone who's actually like playing stuff out. So that would just be my advice. I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, but like, just map it out. Don't give them an option. Just, hey, it's gonna be $2,000.
And I got to hit Japan before my back gives out. I mean, I'm 33 now. And I'm just saying, like, I don't want to get 45 and I'm, like, walking around Japan with a cane.
45?
Not yet.
45?
Hey, you never know, man.
Come on. 45.
I got
getting started, baby.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, those are my 5.
That's top 5, guys. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll get back into some conversation. We'll be back.
We were talking about like famous people earlier, like icons, pop stars, right? And on the other side of it, I wanted to talk about like what it meant to be a fan, and like, are you a fanatic? Do you guys have just someone that you hold up to like the highest level, that if you were to like meet them, you do the craziest thing, like jump them, hug them, who knows what? Yes, I like that expression. But no, like, do you guys have someone that you follow that like you do the craziest thing for?
I don't. That's a good question. I think if you asked me this question 10, 15 years ago, I definitely would have had an answer for you. But I think as I've gotten older, the novelty of celebrity has kind of worn off a little bit. If I'm thinking about people who I would, freak out over, I don't know if there's anybody who I could currently say I would freak out over. I think I could get starstruck. I think I could meet a celebrity or an actor or an actress and be like, wow, I don't know what to say because I've always been such a big fan of yours and I don't want to say the wrong thing or something like that. But yeah, I don't think any current celebrity or figure could get me to that point. I don't know. That's a good question. That is a good question. I mean, if fictional characters were a thing, if this was some sort of multiverse situation, but celebrity or icon, no, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I think the novelty of celebrity has kind of worn off for me as I've gotten older.
Yeah, I think for me, I I always watch so many interviews because my mom really loves like VH1 Inside the Music stuff.
Sure.
Where the celebrities talked about how like they had bad experiences from people who were wanting to like hug them or saw them in such a high light. That I kind of knew from like a really young age. Hey, if I ever meet somebody very famous, they're not different from me. They're just somebody that is popular.
Yeah.
So treat them as human as possible. I think for me, the person that I'd be the most excited to meet, it would be Jackie Chan.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's because Jackie Chan had such a big hold with me growing up with my grandma. My grandma loved him. We watched all of his movies that she could get access to here in the States. So if I saw him, I wouldn't want to jump Jackie Chan and like hug him because he's going to kick me in the mouth. 65, he's probably still, or 70, he's probably still got it. But I would be like, I hope I'm not bugging you, but I want to say that I love everything you've done has been very important to me in my life. I would love to shake your hand. And that's probably as far as I would go. I've never had like the girls who like saw the Beatles.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, I have to touch you. No.
Yeah.
I do not have to touch you. I would like to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say that because I've seen so many interviews where it really dragged them down.
So
Yeah.
a lot of it has to come with like knowing and being connected, being centered,
Yeah.
and just trying to relate. But what do you guys think drives people to that point? And the reason I'm bringing up this topic is because Yolanda Sandoval. Yeah, right, Sandoval.
Yeah.
I'm butchering the last name. Sorry.
Good.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't deserve it.
Had her petition to be released early from parole. For those people that don't know, she was a fan of Selena Quintanilla.
She was the manager.
She was the
Of the fan
manager
club.
as well of the fan club. And she shot her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she's been in jail all this time, 30 years. Again, for those people that don't know, Selena was a huge Texan
Culture
Mexican-American icon. She was a very, very young singer. She was one of the first ones from America to try and reach out to other countries and have an impact on that. And there's some pockets that like recognize her, idolize her. But she died young.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think like drove her to do this? Were the consequences of that thing just?
I'm not gonna touch what drove her to do that. I'm not gonna touch that one with a 10-foot pole. But what I will say is I think that again, like how sort of the novelty of celebrity has worn off for me as I've gotten older. I think a big part of that is because of the access we have to celebrity in 2025 via social media, via all of these backstage, interviews that people do. Like if you want to know about a celebrity, it's a quick YouTube search and you can find out pretty much in their own words everything that they believe and everything that they've ever said.
Yeah, some are just so upfront just on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just chilling with that person.
Yeah,
essentially,
or
watching their
live
days.
streams through Instagram. Like, so I think right now there's already that connection that people feel like they have. There's a term for it that I'm forgetting. Parasocial relationships, with celebrities, because you can be in a chat room with Doja Cat and she might call out your comment and you feel like you actually spoke to her where she just read some text off of a screen. So I do think that nowadays it's you're less likely to find like super fans like that because a lot of people feel like they already have relationships with these celebrities. So I think back in the 90s or whenever this happened with Selena, you have this built up image of who she is in your head, but you have absolutely no way to share your feelings with her, to know if she's actually like that in real life. Like all you know her is through her music, like maybe a few interviews here and there that you might have caught on Dateline or 60 Minutes or something, but you don't have access to the internet where you can just go
rewatch
look
them.
up those interviews again. So I think just the novelty of the celebrity, it was just much harder to wear off in years past than it is now.
I mean, that's a good point because like before there weren't that many icons, right? You would say how many famous people versus
do you think so?
people?
I think there are less icons now because of that. I think like
I mean, you make your icons. Like,
sure, yeah, but I think again, celebrities just have so like you're more aware of the flaws in celebrities now than you. So it's harder for celebrities to be your heroes, right? Because it's like,
Oh, okay.
You do truly
You're
know that
looking
they're
at it.
human.
you know everything
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah.
You need some level of mystique.
You didn't
to
know
be
that-
a hero or an icon.
that, and not speaking to Selena, but you didn't know that the singer that you were infatuated with was, posting up that they have marital problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that they're like, oh man, they got in trouble because they went to a Burger King and said, you don't know who I am.
Yeah, or are
Right.
secretly a Nazi. You
So
know,
you're
Yeah.
seeing them in a more human light.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
guess.
You do.
So, yeah, at least that's what I think. I think it's much harder. It's harder to idolize someone when you can see the warts on them. Like
Fair.
it's harder to have someone put someone on such a high pedestal when you've seen sort of the dark side of who they are.
I kind of think so. To the first part of your question of like what drives somebody to do that, it is hard to place. To me, you could make the argument: is it mental illness? Was it some really weird level of love, infatuation? I think with a lot of it, it's just evil, pure and through, because, well, in the regard of doing it to what happened to Selena, when you would do physical harm to somebody that you love, that is where it's narcissism. It's just evil, because again,
It's bad.
And that's because it's not love. It's you
Yeah,
were right. It
it's
was
not.
infatuation. You can't love someone who you've never met before.
Exactly. But so many people get held up on these like ideals
I
or
don't know
or these oh yeah, pen pals. I don't want to. You don't want to discount cyber friends.
Yeah, and I think you can have love for someone, like, because I think, I don't know. That's another question. I
That's
guess
a hard one.
I'm thinking about like people who have done great things for humanity. Like if I think about Dr. Martin Luther King, like I don't think it's wrong to say that I loved him without ever really having.
Yeah, you
known
never met him.
but
it's different types.
I
of love
guess I
is what
loved
you're getting
what he
into.
did. I can't
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that I loved him, but I loved what
Loved
he
his message?
did. Yeah,
His actions.
Yeah.
What he stood
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
But it's just crazy though, because it's like you bring up the stuff with Selena and Yolanda, Twitch streamers now, and I don't know if you guys had seen this one, but there was a few well-known female streamers who were at a amusement park, and a dude started following them around, and then was like trying to get their number, and then once they said no, he was trying to get to them, and it's just like, again, I don't know if that's mental illness. I don't know what drives you, but it's just, to me, it's just evil, man. Let people be.
So is it good to be so connected in a sense with and engaged with pop stars, rock stars, anyone in the limelight right now, or should you have more of a like keep that boundary and because I see a lot of some of the culture around me is like they're all about this one person or this other person, and like Bad Bunny. So many fanatics, and they'll be like, oh, he did this or he did that, and then they'll follow. Same thing with like Peso Pluma. It's like, oh, his relationship. Yes, I get it. He's going up and down, and there's been temptations, and he probably shouldn't have done that, or he did this, and it's shocking. Shocking's not the word, but yeah. So
yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I don't think they have a choice, to be honest, though. I think if you put yourself and your life out there for the public to put under a microscope, you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
Yeah, but should fans be that way too? Like,
I don't think so.
again, to the social media disconnect from last episode. Like,
Yeah.
at this point, are we to a point where like if it starts to get to you're obsessed over someone?
Should they? Absolutely not. Will they? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things of like, should I eat this cheeseburger or have the lettuce wrap? I'm probably gonna eat the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, should versus will or would that's a different conversation, because again, if you put yourself out there and you're gonna allow your life to be examined by strangers, you kind of have to deal with the consequences of that. Not to say that they deserve whatever, you know, happens to them, but you got to put yourself in situations where you can protect yourself. If you're a celebrity of a certain caliber and you know people are going to be, you know, infatuated with you and that's going to create stalkers. That's just the reality, right? So you kind of have to plan for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, hire security, you know, make sure you're not posting your address online, you know, doing things to prevent yourself from real world dangers because of, you know, the virtual world that you've allowed your fans to have access to. It's a very thin line, but I think especially with these streamers who are becoming more popular, to Matt's point, like most of them are just regular people.
Yeah.
Most of them are people who have had fame thrust upon them very quickly. And they don't necessarily know how to manage that fame. And then things like this where, you know, when you're out in public and you know, last year nobody knew who you were, but now everybody knows who you are. That change can be very abrupt. So it's sort of like you kind of have to, again, have the level of awareness not to put yourself in situations like that. And when they do arise, make sure you have, you know, fail safes in place so that nothing, you know, so you're not actually put in any real danger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put in harm.
Again, not to say that they should have to walk around with bodyguards, but again, there's a difference between you shouldn't have to and the reality of you might need to.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's just the reality of the world that we live in today.
And that's the world that they chose.
Yeah, I mean, again,
at this point, so.
You want it to be famous, but you have to take the good and the bad with that. Like, you know,
It's still just bullshit though. Because again, like, I don't know. It's hard to say and like, because I don't want to sit there and like, group up like mental illness into like this big thing.
Yeah.
But it's
some
like
people
if you're
are just dicks.
Yeah, and again though, if you're not, yes, that person is famous, but they don't owe you anything. Even though a lot of people will make an argument, oh well, I made you famous because I subscribed, I did this. You know, oh no, they're still a human being.
Yeah.
And that to me will always blow my mind that that parasocial can go as far as, well, I made you famous.
Yeah.
Go get help.
Yeah.
It's the difference between finding an immediate solution for a problem and then finding the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
If you find the root cause is obviously people need to grow the fuck up and realize that celebrities don't owe you anything, and they're just people, and they're just personalities. Most of them put on characters. You know, most of them aren't the people that you see on social media. In real life. So that's the long-term solution, is to understand and realize that, and maybe try to teach our kids that. But the short-term solution is be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And be careful what you post and be careful what you say.
Okay. All right. And then just to like bring it back to Selena, and like obviously we hold a moral compass. What ended up happening is she went to jail, didn't get parole, right? But Selena as an icon is still in the limelight to this day, and I think it's gonna continue to be that way. Just like how you said last week, one of your top rotations, no, one of your favorite musicians was Mac Miller, right?
Yeah.
To what point do we stop, you know, being fans or like having them be in that limelight, and what point do we let someone that went through such a tragic thing finally rest?
Ooh,
that's a tough question.
Michael Jackson, Prince. I mean, those Freddie Mercury, Queen. I feel like
do they want to rest?
Do they get the
in
choice?
that sense?
Like in
they
the
don't have a
sense?
say.
Well, and
I think music,
legacy,
you make
right?
art, you make music for it to stand the test of time.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And I think like, I don't, you know, can you let that person rest? No, I think, is that bad? I can't really say yes or no to it, but like, again, look at Prince, look at Freddie Mercury. These are singers who were the upper echelons of their genre, and you're never gonna tell somebody at a fucking sports game play "We Are the Champions."
Yeah,
you're never gonna get people who aren't busting out "Purple Rain."
Yeah,
because these are just super iconic songs, and so I don't think you ever really will hit a moment where you can truly let them rest because they created music to stand the test of time.
I guess in that point, like you want to know why we're idolizing them. Going back to that a little bit, it's like
So you see,
they did,
by still listening,
so like
you're still idolizing.
listening, yeah.
Yeah.
By listening, you're still idolizing. By like having, so I think the movie theater that I'm at did a 20th or 30th anniversary of Purple Rain, and like it did great. And so we bring back anniversaries and all that stuff, all for the point of, is it monetization or is it idolization? Or is it just respect and you hold the utmost?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends. I think it can be seen as like greed from the studio or whoever owns the rights to that, music or those movies. But if it's the family of the person, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that person would want to know that, hey, I'm continuing to take care of my family after my death. If it's just somebody if it's again like some corporation who owns it, then yeah, it's kind of shady. But at the same time, the fans are the fans. The fans are gonna always enjoy it. The fans are always gonna stream that music. So again, that part of it is like sort of like it's just business type thing. I don't necessarily see that as a negative thing as long as they're not going in and doing something like making AI versions of new music or something for the artist, because I don't think anybody would want that.
Not even line in the sand, line in the freaking concrete.
Yeah.
If you're AI using their voice to make new songs, no.
But if you're putting out like, anniversary editions of albums or movies, like I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Personally, I'm trying to see where people could have a problem with that, and personally I don't.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I would love to see though, like if someone is like, if it has that kind of similar point, please, like I would love to have that explained to me.
I would love to hear it too.
All right.
Well, good one, man.
I guess we let them live on, and just think about how you're idolizing anything at this point, right?
Yeah. Be conscious of your idolizations.
But all right, that was a fun.
Yeah. So that is going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and having a drink with us. We hope you enjoyed your time. Before we get out of here, though, just wanted to, again, remind you guys of all the different ways you can listen and access us. So, again, we're across all streaming platforms except for Apple Music, but that's iHeart, that's Spotify, that is Amazon. So pretty much wherever you can access podcasts, you can find Speakeasy. And you can do that by searching for Drink Easy, Speakeasy. So again, pretty much every streaming platform other than Apple Podcasts, which we hope
we're working on.
We hope it'll come soon. Yeah, they just don't make it very easy. None of us are in the Apple ecosystem, so it's not super easy. Social media though, we're on Blue Sky, and we're also on
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Nice.
So make sure you guys are following us. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're giving us ratings. Make sure you're reviewing us if you can and would like to. We would appreciate it. If you like more long form replies, or if you want to send us a 2-page email, we would love to read it. You can do that by emailing drinkeasyspeakeasy@gmail.com. So yeah, there's plenty of ways to get in touch with us, but we've loved the reception from the first episode and the clips that we posted. So thank you guys so much for that. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I wanted to shout out that, like, Adonis, your accomplishment, your achievement, your goal, like, it was hit. We had more than 5 likes.
Oh, I like how you say your when he's the one who.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We had more than 3 shares. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah. But that's going to do it. Luis is going to close us out with the toast.
All right. Well, I'm going to grab my water because I actually finished my drink, not like you guys.
I got a little bit left.
Yeah, okay. So, this is a shout out to you guys. So, to the ones we love dearest and most, may they always live on in our hearts.
Cheers.
Cheers.